watch the list.
With team success comes individual success. So without y'all.
Yeah, buddy. So look, right, and we're looking at our Heisman front runners. And hey, look, Alex, let's go ahead. Let's give our top 4 right now. And who's our pick? Let's start to give our pick because we know that decision will be made soon. Who is your pick? Who do you think it's going to be, or who is it going into right now? Where is that?
Okay, well, I'll put it in the order. I'll go 4-1, who I've got and in order. My number 4, I'm putting Carson Beck. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a strong argument for that 4th spot, but I think that a loss, and even though he went over 100 yards against Michigan, it wasn't really an impressive 100 yards. He had the one big catch and then a couple other catches. Like it was a solid 100 yards, but it wasn't enough for me to push him into the Heisman. So Carson Beck 4. Number 3 for me, like I said before, Penix Jr. got outplayed by Bo Nix last night, in my opinion. And he hasn't looked great since that Oregon game. Also, that's also my opinion. But so my number 2 is Bo Nix. And my number 1, I do think it's Jaden Daniels' award. He's been phenomenal all year. I know that they've lost, 3 games. But I'll read you off some other Heisman winners that lost more than 2 games. One being Caleb Williams last year. USC was 11-3. And we're in that same kind of scenario where there's no real clear guy. And that's the main reason why Caleb won it last year. But you go back to 2016 when Lamar Jackson at Louisville. Louisville was 9-4. Okay, so they didn't really care about wins and losses there. And all the way back in 2011, Robert Griffin III, RG3, Baylor was 10-3.
Yeah.
So I think this is Jaden Daniels' award.
I can see it.
Well, and Ben's comment there, I can agree with that neither really outplayed each other. Between Penix and Nix. I can agree with that.
Yeah. And then keep them kind of interchangeable, if you will. So if I'm going 4-1, my 4 is Marvin Harrison Jr. I do think that able to get him over 100 yards and a touchdown against you guys in that tough game with 2 quality corners does say something to how elite he really is at wide receiver. So I definitely think he needs recognition. Now I want to put one of my running backs up here, my Cody Schrader and my Ollie Gordon. But when you look at them, I mean, they're 1,400, 1,500 yards, albeit they had a lot of great touchdown stats. They still were just a really good player in a situation. Maybe they're their team's MVP, but I'm not going to put them up here. My number 3 in this goes actually Michael Penix Jr. And it goes along with what we've talked about this year since the first Oregon game. He just hasn't really looked uber impressive to me. He looks like he's struggled. He looks like he's kind of a run-of-the-mill kind of guy. And I just don't know that I mean, what he did earlier in the year, yes. And all power to him. Let's remember that he came from Indiana. You know what I mean? He came from a struggling Indiana team, helped them that year that they won, and then transferred and has had a new rebirth. But I just, from what I've seen in the last couple of years, shout out to what he's done. But he's number 3. Number 2 is Bo Nix for kind of the same story and the fact that he has consistently just looked great. Even from last year when he started, he got destroyed by Georgia. And then the rest of the year, it was just on fire. So Bo Nix has consistently improved, in my opinion. And definitely, I think it's going to be a quality QB. But I watched that game, that LSU game, where Jaden Daniels put up 300 in the air, 200 on the ground, and it was just, I mean, I've done that. I know, on and what I hope to do. But yes, Xbox baby, let's go.
Well, that's perfect. He's putting up video game numbers.
Exactly.
That is what he's doing week in and week out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we're talking about the best player. We're talking about the guy that has the biggest impact on the game. We saw what an impact he had last year, and he's just improved on that this year. And you've noted, the numbers and who's done it at a after having 3 losses. This guy's like spectacular, and I'm with you on that. I think he's the number 1 guy right now.
Yeah, so. I like that. And I hope they take 5 like they have the past couple years, because even when having the 4 quarterbacks, I do think Marvin Harrison Jr. deserves to be there. He absolutely does. Yeah. So I hope they take 5 again this year, and I hope he gets to go because he's had a phenomenal season.
Now let me ask you about since I did mention running backs, what about Blake Corum? What if he has a monster day-to-day? If he gets 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, does he need to be?
He's in the discussion, but I don't know that he would go. He's got the 22 touchdowns, which is insanely impressive. But the yardage, he's not even at 1,000 yards. I think that's what would be the killer. Yeah. Michigan's gone to such a pass-heavy offense this year, while Harbaugh's on the sideline. But I think that's what kills Corum and pushes him out of the race here.
Yeah. Ben said, I disagree, Sean. Who next after this chance once again? Like I told everybody, we're gonna always blow it at the end. I'm glad Nick's with God next year. F him, Alex Schonberg boys.
Oh,
yo, we love our guy Alex Schonberg, man.
Good.
Oh, I bet Schrader has the biggest impact in the NFL team his first year. I could see it.
Depends where they go.
Well. But that's the thing. I don't think he's going to be one of these first-round talents. I think he gets stolen later on in the draft by a decent team, though. I hope.
But I like what I mean by that is I think it depends what city he ends up in, what team he's playing for. Because, I mean, you look at Isaiah Pacheco, for example. He was a 7th-round pick, ended up in Kansas City, got the chance to take the reins, and was one of the most impactful running backs in that draft class.
Right.
So it all depends what team drafts you or signs you for that matter.
Yeah.
And what the situation is there with the running backs. And I mean, injuries and a really good training camp and all that can push somebody into the limelight and they can have a phenomenal year.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that definitely something to look at. We'll definitely be following his journey from Missouri to the pros.
Absolutely.
So yes. So yeah, those are our Heisman lists. Let us know who your Heisman front runners are and where you're looking, man. It's going to be very interesting. And some of these games will play a major factor in that list.